Welcome everyone. I'm Roberto Gudino, and I am the instructor here in Intro to Cinematography. Um, we are going to be doing documentary lighting today. We have our volunteer, Michael, has been very gracious in volunteering. And also I want to thank my entire class. We have several camera ops here, engineers, lighting folks, a bunch of other folks back there in the control room making this all happen. This is the first time we're going live from Studio A here at Scottsdale Community College, and I'm very happy we're doing this today with you all. So without further ado, what we are doing today is documentary lighting, specifically documentary interview lighting. So we have our subject here. A lot of times in documentary filmmaking, you're going to be in a situation like this. And again, this is live, right? So it's improvisational. And this is a classroom, so we are instructing. So I want to remind all the camera ops, please be by your camera, because you may need to operate if your subject moves like this. Ah, okay. Let's loosen the pan tilt there. Okay, great. Okay, good. So, oh, there's a bit of a delay. So documentary lighting, you might be in a situation where you come into a space like this, a studio, and all you have is, in this case, a black canvas. Where do you start, right? You have the fluorescence from overhead, and you have a really large blank space. What you want to do, you definitely don't want to light with overhead fluorescent lights, because what could happen there is that these overhead fluorescents cast dark circles underneath the eyes. Another thing I'd like to see happen is maybe some more camera options for the control room, maybe a little tighter close-up so we could see some of the lighting here on Michael. All right, we could switch cameras. All right, cool. So speaking about lighting, we do have someone doing lighting for us. Brendan, if you want to come in here and help us out a bit. So Brendan's going to help us with C-stance. There he is. Let's go ahead and, there you go. Let's make sure to, okay. Let's make sure to, yeah, everybody keep your hands on the tripods. All right, great. There he is, a couple of seconds later. Yeah, like magic. So Brendan's going to be helping us with everything that has to do with lighting, with tripods, with any setup we have going on. Brendan did a great job of setting up that light back there. Speaking of, Brendan, if you could bring me that light over so we could talk a little bit about it. And great technique here if we want to get a tighter shot of that. So control room, if you guys could talk to our camera ops. Thank you. All right, let's get a nice tight shot of this too, control room. So thank you, Brendan. All right, got it. So you might notice also great technique here from Brendan. What you definitely want to do with these stands is that you want to put the sandbag on top of the highest leg. So for those folks watching, why might a reason be that we put it on the top leg? So just everyone, you could ask yourself that question. I don't think we're getting any comments. So for now, you want to have the sandbag on the top leg because all the weight of the sandbag is supporting the stand. If you were to put this sandbag on the lower leg, you might think, well, that's good because it's holding the stand down to the ground. But in actuality, there's no weight on the actual stand, right? So by placing the sandbag on the top leg, can we get a close-up of that sandbag, folks, in the control room? All right. By placing it on the top leg, all the weight is on the stand and none of the weight is on the ground. Because what could happen is if you place the sandbag on the lower leg, the majority of the weight, there we go. All right, we got a different angle. Excellent. The majority of the weight is on the ground. So you want to make sure that sandbag is on the top leg. The reason I want to talk about Kinos, these lights up here, if we could get a nice tight shot of this control room. This happens to be the Diva Light 400. Diva Light 400, right there. What's nice about this light is that it's very low amperage. So what that means is that you could plug in several of these lights into one outlet. Per globe, these are the light bulbs in here, it's only about 55 watts per globe. There's bigger Kinos. Those are called the 4x4s, or those are 4 feet by 4 feet. Those are 75 watts per globe. So let's see if we could pop this out here. Well, that's a little tight. There we go. There we go. So we're going to get a nice tight shot of that. So these here are only about 55 watts per globe. So if you multiply that times 4, what do you got? 55. We have a question. Oh, sounds like, can we cut to this camera? Sounds like we have a question from the viewing audience. So what's our question? I'm now going to address our floor manager. So what's our question? Oh, Phoenix Girl asks, are you sponsored by Kino? Good question, Phoenix Girl. Coming to us all the way from YouTube. By the way, if anyone is watching on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, please place any questions or comments in the comment section, and we'll make sure to address them as they come in live. No, we're not sponsored by Kino. It'd be great to be sponsored by Kino, but the reason I want to talk about Kino, again, is because they're really good lights, Phoenix Girl, and you will see why Kino lights are good lights. All right, so another advantage to Kino Flow lights is that they're multi-temperature. What does that mean? So color temperature wise, you could have what's called tungsten globes. If we could get a nice tight shot of this, they're tungsten globes. And these particular lights in here are called globes, right? And it's going to give you up here on the globe, it's going to give you the color temperature. So you could have warm lights, you could have cool blue lights, you could have various lights that you essentially just pop in here. So what I'll do is, actually I have Brendan help me out. So Brendan, if you could fly in here, thank you, sir. And then let's go ahead and take this light off of the stand. Let's place it down here so we could see it. There we go. Thank you, sir. Oh, just on the ground. There we go. Thank you, Brendan. All right, cool. So you're able to pop these lights out and switch them to a different color temperature just by doing this, right? So there's that advantage. They're low wattage. They're also cool to the touch. So I'm going to turn this light on, and I'll ask my students here, what do we say when we turn the light on? That's right, striking. Ooh, I like that dissolve. Good job in their control room. Striking. All right, so this light source, here I'm going to pan it over a smidge, is warm. It has a warm color temperature to it, and it's cool to the touch, which means that I won't get burned by it, number one. And second, it's not going to be uncomfortable for the talent. So if I have this on our talent, they're not going to feel extremely hot. If I were to have a light this close to our talent, a regular tungsten light, something like this overhead, if we could get a nice shot of maybe a Fresnel light from the grid, it would be a lot hotter for the talent. All right, so advantages, right? It's dimmable. Here, let me go ahead and, here, let's go back to that shot of Michael. It's dimmable, so if it's too bright, I'm sorry, if it's too bright, like you just saw Michael's reaction, I could always dim it down. I could change the color temperature of the light as well. So that's one advantage. You don't have to do interview lighting or documentary lighting with Kinos. They just happen to be very practical. So if you are, especially if you're going to shoot an interview in someone's house, and I'll go ahead and talk into this camera, if they could get a nice, actually this camera here, I'll do camera 6 so they could get a nice close-up. So if you go do an interview at someone's home, you don't know what kind of power they have available to you. You definitely don't want to pop a circuit, right? So these are low power. Back to Phoenix Girls point, I don't want to keep talking about Kino's all day. So I'm going to skip ahead, especially if Kino's not a sponsor, right? So I'll make a second request. So if I could have Brendan, if you could fly in a light meter. Thank you, Brendan. You should be right back there where all the gear is. All right, good. So we're going to do something called 3-point lighting. So essentially, thank you, sir. All right. So here's our light meter. Is there another light meter there? Yeah, just go ahead and bring that other light meter if you don't mind. All right, good. So if I could get a nice tight close-up of this. Thank you, Brendan. All right. So I'm gonna, always good to have a backup. That's one lesson we learned today. Always good to have, there we go. Here, let me get a close-up that. Okay, I think that's on 6. Oh, look at that, a little bit of a delay. So a light meter, what this is going to do, this is going to help me essentially paint with light. So I will have the ability to paint with light. What do I mean by that? So I mean that I will be able to control the lights that we have here, like the Kinos, and I'll be able to change the brightness of the light and actually decide how much of the light, or how much I want the subject in light, or how much I want the subject in shadow. I'm not going to get too deep into light meters right now because that could be a whole nother live stream. So let's jump right to it. So first thing we want to do, let's go ahead and frame up Michael here with camera 6. And let's get like a nice, one other pro tip, if we could fly in, maybe I'll get my engineer to fly in a chair for us, please, Christian. Thank you, Christian. It could be one of these without wheels. Yeah, there you go, perfect. All right, good. So if we could get a nice close-up of Michael. Yeah, can I borrow that? Just right here. Got it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Christian. All right. All right, good. So great, we got a nice close-up. And I'm looking at the monitor, so I'll just talk through it. Michael, if you want to go and look straight into camera, right here. Okay, good. All right, so a couple of things about this. So Michael's wearing a black hoodie, so this is something you'd want to consider also when you're shooting a documentary. Well, I want Michael to stand out from the background. Guess what? The background's also black. So how do we do that? We could take questions now. Any questions from the viewing audience or anyone? Can we see the any questions banner pop up as well? And while we're waiting for questions from the viewing audience and our folks here in Studio A, I want to remind everyone, maybe if we go to cam 7. So something to remind you guys. So find a class. Find a class is going to be available next week, next Monday. So make sure to check that out so you can start figuring out what classes you want to take. Also remember, priority registration is going to be available March 7th, with open registration happening March 28th. Yeah, I think that's right. So if you want to go ahead and register for classes, check out my.maricopa.edu, or call the number that's going to pop up on the screen. All right, great. So we have that close up on Michael. So what do we need to make Michael pop from the background, to be no longer seeming as if he's melding into the background? What type of light could we use? Anybody? A backlight, exactly. So a backlight is going to be one of those 3 points of lighting. Thank you, Brendan. Of course, he's a lighting person. He would know what's up. Great. So we would want a backlight. Right now, the lights that we have, there's different types of Kinos. This is a 400. This is a Diva Light 400. Brendan, do we have the Diva Light 200? Oh, perfect. All right, great. So we're going to use this as a backlight. So Brendan, if you could move it around here for me. And go ahead and let's go to 6. Let's go to 6. Great. Oh, and let's make sure to grab focus before we cut to specific cameras. Okay, great. And we could make all right. So no questions from the viewing audience. Nothing. Okay. Phoenix girl, if you're still watching, make sure to ask a question. All right. So let's get that close up I was asking for from Michael. There we go. Okay. Let's make it a little tighter. So no haircut. A haircut, folks, would be cutting Michael off about here where we don't want a haircut. All right. Nice. All right. Let's do a little bit less headroom. A little bit less headroom. All right. Phoenix girl, what is the importance of 3-point lighting? Oh, that's a great question. So let's cut to 7. So Phoenix girl, the importance of 3-point lighting is that you're able to control essentially the direction of the light. So where is that key light coming from? Is it coming from a window? Is it coming from the sun? Is it coming from a computer? You're able to control 3-point lighting. And I think folks, you're in the shot. That's okay. Just FYI, I just want you guys to know. Also, you could control the contrast. How bright or how dark are the shadows? And in regards to that, you could make an image look high key, low key, different styles that we're going to talk about. Finally, the third point of 3-point lighting is the backlight. So you can make the subject pop out from the background. Great question, Phoenix girl. Thank you for participating. Please make sure to stay tuned. I'm going to give you some more information as we talk along. So let's cut back to 6. Let's see that close up. Pro tips to documentary documentary lighting and interviewing. You're not typically going to have the subject looking straight into camera. So if I could have our lighting operator, come on down. Thank you, Brendan. Yeah, I was about to call Alexia over, but she's busy over there talking to him. So typically, if we could get a wider shot of this, the interviewer is going to be on one side of the camera. Yeah, please sit down. In this case, we have the camera pretty far back, so he's not going to be really close to camera. We could move that camera in. There we go. Here, let me not block. Okay, great. So so now let's go ahead and cut to 6. And Michael, if you could look straight into the camera, and then we're going to show the eye line shift, right? So I'm going to move out of the way. I'm going to move here so we could see it. And there's a bit of a delay. That's okay. There we go. Okay. Now let's give him a little bit less of a haircut. I'm sorry, less headroom. So let's tilt down. So okay, great. Now we're going to see Michael's eye line shift. So go ahead and look from the camera to Brendan. There you go. And then back to camera. And then back to Brendan. So typically what happens when you are shooting a documentary is you're going to have the interviewer looking straight at the documentarian's eyes, so to speak. So they're not going to be looking straight down the camera, right? They're going to be looking at the interviewer. Why? Because that interviewer wants to connect with the interviewee, and it could be a lot more intimidating looking straight at a camera as opposed to looking at another person, right? Where it's more conversational. Also, the physical space has something to do with it. So if we cut to camera 7, we'll see that there's a great distance between Brendan and Michael. I think Brendan can move in a little bit closer to Michael. So there's a little bit more intimacy, so to speak. There we go. It feels like you're just having a conversation. And that's what happens a lot in documentary. You tell the interviewee, just pretend you and I are having a conversation. No one else is in the room. That way there's that sense of comfort. All right. So if we cut back to 6, we're going to notice something. This light is in the shot. We don't want this light in the shot. So we want to move this light out of the way. So there's a way to do that, which I'll show you. What essentially you want to do is you want to arm out the light source, right? So I'm going to put this light source here on the side. And actually, let's switch. Christian, if you could be the interviewer. So that way, Brendan could help with lights. Thank you. Our wonderful engineer, Christian, is doing a heck of a job. Thank you, Christian. All right, cool. So what we're going to do, let's get a tighter close-up there of Michael. Nope, you're good. You go ahead and look at the interviewers, and maybe some questions. We're not gonna do it this second, but some questions you could ask of Michael is like, well, what classes are you planning to take next semester, or what is it you want to do in the film industry? We won't do it quite yet, but we'll do it soon enough. So if we're gonna see a shot of this, so now when it comes to C-stands, what you want to do, and I'll move this forward a little bit more so we can see it. Oops, squeak, squeak. So maybe we could get a wide shot with 7. And you could just be on standby. Thank you, Brendan. All right, cool. So when it comes to C-stands, you want to make sure that there's different names to this, right? So we have knobs here. On your right, my left, you have, so if we're gonna get a close-up shot of this. We have knobs here on our left. I'm sorry, my left, your right. And then here, these are called knuckles. So these knuckles, you want to make sure that these knuckles are aligned with each other, right? For the following reason, you want to make sure that when you put a load, be it a light or a flag on a C-stand, it's actually going righty-tighty, tightening to the right versus lefty-loosey. Here's why. So Michael, you may want to step away for this just for a second. That's okay. All right. So just for everybody's safety, you want to make sure everything's safe. So you want to imagine that when looking at this is called a gobo head. When looking at this gobo head, here are some quick terms. This is called a gobo head. When looking at the gobo head, you want to make sure that the gobo arm, it's a gobo arm, is going to, if you're going to attach anything to it, you want to make sure that it's pointing to the right of this knuckle that's on this gobo head. Here's why. As you go right, this gobo arm is tightening. If you attach a load here and you attach it going left of this gobo head, guess what? The load is going to start pulling down. It's going to start pulling down on itself. And instead of it tightening as you go, it's getting looser. So guess what? Tom Cruise, Scarlett Johansson, or whoever's standing down there is going to end up with a gobo arm just like that on their head. But if you align the knuckles, these two, as you should, and make sure that, and look, I'm not even going to tighten it that much, right? Just one finger as it's pulling down, righty-tighty, you guys can see that, it's getting tighter and tighter. So that's what you want to make sure you do. Why do I bring it up? Because we're going to put a light on this. So we're going to, what's called arm it out. So we're going to arm out this gobo arm. So the way we're going to do that, you also want to make sure that the weight of whatever you're arming out is towards the top leg. Here's a question for you all and for the viewing audience. Phoenix Girl, if you're still watching. Why would I want to put the weight towards the top leg versus the back leg versus an open gap? Anybody? You guys could speak. Yeah, go ahead, Ian.
The weight is over the longest leg, so the center of gravity is focused.
Good point, right? So if I put a load here on this arm and it's going towards the front leg, if we could get a wider shot of this, I think it might happen. Okay, it's happening. Maybe there's just a bit of a delay. If there's a load, it's not going to go anywhere, right? For some, it might be, it seems counterintuitive, right? Well, why would I not put the weight on the opposite end of where the sandbag is? Isn't that going to help me? Well, guess what? It's not, because there's an open gap and it's going to come right down, right? So make sure that when you're doing that, you're placing this arm here right in front of the sandbag. And guess what? Phoenix Girl is still with us. Thanks for sticking with us, Phoenix Girl. I know we promised documentary lighting. That's coming. where should I put the sandbag on the C-stand? Great question. So you should put the sandbag on the topmost leg of the C-stand, because if you place it on one of the smaller legs, guess what? There's actually no weight on it, right? All right, good. That's a bit of a recap, but I want to make sure that Phoenix girl is getting her money's worth, which is no cost. So I guess, this is good because you're definitely getting your money's worth. All right, cool. So excellent. So let's go ahead and grab a seat if you wouldn't mind. All right, so Michael's going back, ladies and gents. I am arming out this C-stand, and I'm gonna have Brendan fly in. Fly in is a industry term for quickly moving in a piece of equipment. So if you're interested, we're going to do a quick, brief documentary lighting demo today. If you're interested in documentary lighting, if you're interested in documentaries in general, you want to create your own documentary, you got a story to tell, you want to have your voice heard, make sure to sign up for FMT 270, Documentaries for Social Change. I'll be teaching that next semester, so make sure to look for that. Okay, great. So we got this stand set up. Brendan, if you want to fly that in. Let's go back to camera 6 so we can see that close up on Michael. Great. So we're going to pop that light right on there. And I will help Brendan. All right. Yeah, and then righty-tighty. There you go. Okay. Finger going the opposite way. Yep, that's okay. There we go. Hold that. There we go. So again, this is our first time, guys, experimenting with live streaming. Like I told this class, today is all about fun. Let's just, I'm not on-camera talent. So we're just all really trying to learn from this experience and have fun with it. And so far, this has been a lot of fun for me. And we'll see. We might continue doing this if this is something that my class, first off, enjoys. And if you guys, my class is getting something out of it. And if not, then hey, that's okay. All right. So any feedback from Alexia? Everything good? All right. We got a thumbs up. Great. All right. So here we got a little bit of an over the shoulder. I'm glad that we're talking about this. So Christian, if you want to move a little bit camera right, that's good. And let's go to back to camera 6. What we're going to see here, and let's also get a second. Oh, I think Brendan's gone. Alexia, would you mind bringing me a 35-pound sandbag? That's the bigger sandbags. Thank you. All right. So she's flying in. All right. So what we're seeing now is what's called an over the shoulder. So we are over Christian's shoulder here onto our subject. This type of framing is more common. Yeah, fly it on in. This kind of framing is more common in narrative filmmaking. All right, here's a trick question. You could place it down, just right here on the side. Thank you, Alexia. All right, so let's give Alexia some clapping emojis. Yes, good job, Alexia. And good job, Brendan. Yes, Brendan. What is that? Oh, okay, great. So can we get a shot on me? Another perk to being in my class, I didn't do this intentionally, but good news is that we got pizza delivered, so that's a good thing. So we're gonna take care of that. So my point to that is, if you sign up for one of my classes, who knows? We might end up having a pizza party. So since we are having a pizza party, let's check on the time. We're doing pretty good. We're going to do the following, control room and everyone watching. Phoenix girl, make sure to stick around. We're going to take a short intermission because I want to be good to our students here at Scottsdale Community College and give them some pizza. So pizza folks are here. We're going to get some pizza going. We're going to come back from this short break. And then once we do come back from this short break, we're going to continue discussing lighting. So again, remember, if you're interested in enrolling in classes here at Scottsdale Community College, go to my.maricopa.edu. There's also a phone number we can use. Yes, Phoenix Girl, we are hungry. We hungry. Yeah, we are. So Phoenix Girl, everybody out there, we will be back. So thank you for watching. Also, open registration is coming. So we have not only open registration, but priority registration is happening March 8th. I believe that's Monday, March 8th. We also have open registration happening after that. So yeah, make sure to come check us out here at Scottsdale Community College. Not only do we play with lights and cameras, but we also have pizza. So hey, Phoenix Girl, if there's a pizza sponsor you want to hit us up with, that'd be really nice. So without further ado, we could go ahead and see you on the next one, which should be in a couple of minutes. Enjoy your break. I know I'm going to enjoy my break, and I'll see you all soon. Hello, hello, mic check. Hello, mic check. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. One check, 1, 2, 3.
Is your speaker, because it's coming through the Scarlet gate. Through the Scarlet panel. Not hearing nothing.
And that's coming through where?
Meet him on the actual screen.
Oh, sorry.
If you'd like.
Oh, that's going through the Scarlet? Yes. Because I think we talked about the, yeah. On me. Post up on Michael for sure on 6. All right, I didn't get a cue. Are we live? Okay, I thought. And I move my hands. I'm gonna pretend like I'm talking. I'm saying stuff. This is fun. Live TV. Can you guys hear me or not? We didn't do a countdown or anything. Okay. Well, tell them to for now just put the on air or coming soon or whatever. No, I realize that, but can we go off the air? And again, folks, this is a rehearsal. So. Okay, like completely off. All right, cool. All right. Professor for Intro to Cinematography. This is Intro to Cinematography. We're doing some fun stuff today in Intro to Cinematography. We are doing documentary interview lighting. We have our wonderful and brave volunteers. We have Michael and Christian. Christian is currently the interviewer. Michael is the interviewee. Again, because I see him now, the lower thirds is letting us know. Make sure to enroll online at my.maricopa.edu. We could probably make that go away now because we talked about it and there it is on the screen. All right, great. So we're talking about the backlight. We want to make sure that because this light is being armed out, it has plenty of weight on it, which it does now. And let's go ahead and cut to camera 6. Camera 6 is going to give us that nice close-up on Michael. And that will allow me to adjust this backlight so it is not in the shot. So I'll get Brendan to come and help me. Brendan, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you, Brendan. All right, so let's go ahead and go to this close-up here on Michael. All right, so let's go ahead and stem up on that. One quick pro tip for everybody. You want to stem up starting with the top knob. Here's why. If you start with the bottom, you end up in a position where you're not able to raise it anymore, okay? So let's do this. Christian, if you wouldn't mind left for me. All right, and let's go ahead and go all the way in. Corey, let's zoom in as much as you can. Thank you. All right, so let's, well, stem back down. I first want to see the shot, see how much Thank you, Brendan. Yeah, so basically, oh, there we go. Let's go a little looser. A little looser. Okay, and then let's have you move a little bit more camera left. There you go. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we can very clearly see the light in the shot. Let's go ahead and stem it up to where it's no longer in the shot. So go ahead, Brendan. Just knowing that that monitor has a bit of a delay. Let's try that. Probably not even that high. Stem down a little. There you go. Try that. We'll take a look. All right, great. So we have this backlight going. I have my light meter. I'm going to start taking light meter readings. This light here is very important. This light here is our key light. It's called the key light because it is the principal light that we're going to be using to light. Some of you folks might ask yourself, well, why is Roberto using C-stands with lights? Aren't C-stands for flags? Yes, C-stands are in fact for flags, but when you're using Kinos, you tend to use C-stands because you're able to articulate the light out. So if the light is in this position, you're able to use your gobo arm to adjust the angle on the Kino. So that's why you would often use a Kino light to adjust those different angles. I'm sorry, a C-stand with Kinos to adjust the light's angle. Typically, you're going to be using light stands for lights, right? All right, good. So our principal light, here it is. We've got the key light. We have our light meter. Brendan, if I could have you attach this grid on there, you should be able to just slide it in there and use the Velcro to attach it to it. So the first light you want to set is your key light, your principal light, because that's the light that's going to motivate the rest of the lights. All right, great. So, and you have to make a choice as a cinematographer what f-stop you want to shoot at. So I know I want to shoot at, let's see, I want to shoot at an f4. An f4 would be nice. So we're going to make a small adjustment, and we could make that lower third go away here in the bottom, the enroll online for now. Thank you. All right. Excellent. Okay, good, good. So Brendan, if you could hit that light, strike it, and go ahead and position it, angle it towards Michael. And Michael, you're going to be looking at Christian. And if we could cut to camera 6, so we can see what that looks like. And make sure that the top leg is towards the subject and towards the load. There's a dimmer on it, so you'd want to make sure, yeah, that this,
Top leg.
yes, just like this, yep. Exactly, thank you. All right, good. All right, so Michael, go ahead and look at Christian. And now in terms of framing, camera 6, if you could give me a little bit of lead room, that means that you're allowing for a little bit of room on this side of Michael's face and a little bit of less headroom. All right, great. So now that we have the key light going, let's go ahead and strike the house lights, Brendan. So we're going to kill the house lights. And I want to make that go away, and I want to make that go away. All right, thank you. All right. So we just have a little bit of light. I don't think that's going to cause that much of an issue. Let's go ahead and cut to the close-up of Michael. And first thing you want to do is you want to find the angle of light for our talent. I want to do a little bit of a Rembrandt lighting, so that's going to be somewhat of this angle here. Essentially, you typically want the shadow side of the subject to be on camera. So why? Because shadow is slightly more interesting. It gives you more depth than light. So what we're also going to do is, Michael, if you want to angle your chair towards Christian, go clockwise. There you go, just a little bit. All right, so I'm hand holding this for now. I'm liking the lighting, I'm liking what it's doing. This is where I want the light to live, Brendan. So if you want to move that C-stand to where I'm standing here. And again, the cool thing about Kinos is that they're dimmable. Excellent, thank you. There we go. So I can have Brendan adjust it for me. So Brendan, if you want to go ahead and be behind that light and get on that dimmer, and I'm going to use my light meter here, point it towards the light source, and I want to give that an F4. So go ahead and pan the light towards me. Like on, there you go, yes. And go ahead and dim that up. And what I'm doing here is I'm pressing down the button here on, oh, look at that, David Wing. David Wing, what is key to fill ratio? How do you attain it? Well, first off, Dave, I am honored that you're watching on LinkedIn. David Wing, for everyone that doesn't know, has been working in the film industry in Arizona, in California, and throughout the US for over 30 years now. He's also one of our distinguished adjuncts here at Scottsdale Community College. So we're very lucky to have him. Yeah, so what David is asking is he's asking, what's the brightness difference between the key light, this side here, and the fill light? That is expressed as a ratio. So on this side, we have a 2:8:4 split. What that essentially means is that we're between a 2:8 and an F4. And we have a live audience here too. So welcome, Ben. Just to give, thank you, Ben. Thank you. Let's hear for Ben, everybody. Yeah, and Ben's made his quick exit. So yeah, this is, like I was telling Ben yesterday, we are experimenting and having fun with live streaming. So we're actually streaming right now as we speak. So a lot of fun. The monitor that we're looking at is actually a live feed from YouTube. So we got some fun stuff happening. But to continue with the lesson, go ahead and dim up on that keynote. And I'm waiting to get an F4. Keep going up, brighter. And stop. A little brighter. Okay, we got an F4. Perfect. And Corey, is that camera set to an F4? Let's switch it to an F4 because we want to make sure that this key light matches that f-stop. Now, typically with backlights, you want to match the brightness of the key light or be one stop brighter than the key light. You could see right now there's no separation here between Michael and the backdrop, but there will be shortly. So Brendan, if you want to go ahead and strike this backlight. So we're going to get this backlight struck. And okay, thank you. All right, excellent. And Ben, do you know where the bounce boards are in the vault in Studio B? Okay, no worries, no worries. All right, so we're struck. Let's go ahead and take a look at that close up. And Brendan, let's go ahead and dim this light up. So we're getting an F4. So thank you. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Up. Dim down a little bit. Right there. Right there. All right. So now, Brendan, if you want to be on standby on this light. Thank you. There we go. All right, cool. So we're making that happen. Now, I requested what's called a bounce board. Oh, beautiful. Okay. We're getting a little, looks like, okay. So Michael, if you could look straight at, okay. And excellent. It's looking good. Okay. And can you look this direction, Michael? There you go. All right. Excellent. Yep. Keep looking at Christian. Okay. All right. Can you lift your head up just a smidge? There you go. Okay, great. So now we could see some separation, right? Now we could see Michael here separated from the background. We're getting a little bit of what's called lens flare or spill. So let's stem up. We're going to stem up on the light a bit. So go ahead and make it go up. What happens is the light enters the lens and it creates a strange, well, not strange, but it creates a halo. So we want to avoid halation. Okay, that's feeling good. Okay, good. Beautiful. Thank you, Ben. All right. So, Ben, why don't you be part of our audience here? All right. So, thank you, Ben. So again, we're also very lucky to have Ben. He's an audio specialist. So, and also he's been working on our live streaming setup here. So, we're very lucky to have him. So, thank you, Ben, again for your help. There's a bit of a delay on the screen, as you notice. All right, good. So for the viewing audience, we have what's called a 4x bead board. This side is beads. This side is muslin. What this is going to do, if we take a look at here, at Michael's face, this is going to fill in those shadows. So if we cut to that close-up on Michael, we're able to see a difference between bounce board on and off. On and off. So if we cut to Michael's close-up, we'll be able to see the difference there. That way we could answer Dave's question. And then Brendan, if you could step back here and help me out with the bounce boards. There we go. So let's take a look at that. Okay, good. So now you could adjust this to where you have different colors. Thank you. So Brendan, if you want to hold this up here, this side of it, got it? Okay. If you want to pan it over to camera, this side of it is muslin. That's unbleached muslin, which means it's a little bit warmer. So it has like an aged, like beige color to it. That's going to make the image look warmer. So if we cut back to that close-up, Corey's close-up, there we go. And then, yeah, dance that bead bounce board in a little bit. There you go. And then eventually we'll see it because of that delay. All right. Nice dissolve, Alex. I love it. Great dissolve. All right. So now we're really filling in the shadow. So to answer Dave's question, right now we have an F4 on the key light. And on the shadow side, we have an F2. So that's a two-stop difference from an F2 to a 2.8 to a 4. So our viewing audience or anyone here, what is a contrast ratio if there's a two-stop difference? Phoenix girl, you still watching us? Maybe not. All right. All right. So the ratio, to answer your question, Dave, is a 4-to-1 ratio. So ladies and gents, really quick, just to recap so we could see what everything's doing. Let's go ahead and, if you want to step away, Brendan, let's stay on that close-up. We're going to stay on that close-up. And I'm going to kill the key light. And then let's go ahead and kill those lights as well. The overhead lights. There's that other set. Thank you. And I'm going to on off these lights so we see what each light is doing. So right now, we're getting a little bit of fluorescent lighting happening, but it's going to go away. All right, perfect. So now we got one light so that we could see the 3 lights. So we have the backlight playing here, and then when we cut to the close-up, excellent. I don't feel I need I'm not gonna turn it off because all it's gonna be pure black. No one wants to see pure black. But once we cut to that close-up, excellent. All right, so that is what the backlight is doing. Christian, if you wanna go ahead and step to your left. So we're gonna move that. So that's all the backlight's doing, all right? So Brendan, if you could hit the key light. So Brendan's gonna hit the key light. That's our principal, the key light of right back here, Brendan. There you go. All right. We want to see what that looks like without the backlight. And then just hang out there, Brendan. Thank you. All right, so there's a key light. So now I'm gonna off with the backlight. It's going off, on, off, on. Okay. Now I'm gonna leave that off, and I'm going to bounce in a little bit of light so we could see that fill light. So we could cut there. Beautiful. Okay, great. And then here's a little bit of fill light. So that's with, there we go. So this is with some fill. So far we got 2 lights. This technically is not a light, but it is bouncing light back into our subject. So we could count this as a second point of light. And then lastly, the backlight. There you go. So now we have 3-point lighting for documentary interviews. We have a key light, we have a fill light, and we have a backlight. So Brendan, if we want to go ahead and hit the lights, the house lights, so we could bid everybody adieu. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in today. This was our first experiment with live streaming. This to me was very valuable in that we got to see a quick lighting setup, something you could do relatively quickly while we're troubleshooting all the live streaming stuff. It's an exciting time. I think it's a time of democratization of media, where we could all have our voices be heard on different channels, be it social media channels or other outlets. So if you are interested in documentary filmmaking, again, make sure to look for that class. It's FMT 270, Documentaries for Social Change. If you want to do cool stuff like we're doing here today in Intro to Cinematography, like live streaming, using high-end video cameras, getting hands-on experience with top-of-the-line equipment, make sure to sign up for classes. We do have priority registration happening March 8th, and then we have open enrollment happening March 22nd, I believe. It's going to be up there on the screen, I'm sure. Don't forget, go to my.maricopa.edu to register for classes or call their number. If there's any other questions, feel free to email me and let me know. All right, great. So quick recap, 3-point lining. It doesn't have to be just for narrative filmmaking. It could also be for documentary filmmaking. This to me was a lot of fun. We do have pizza. It's getting cold, so we want to make sure we get to it. Thank you very much, David Wing, for the shout out on LinkedIn. Looking forward to seeing you next semester when we're back at it. So for the viewing audience and everybody out there, I want to hear a big round of applause for this class for making this happen. Thank you, guys. All right. So make sure to stay tuned for the next time that we do some live streaming. Remember, be bold and let your voice be heard. All right. Fade to black.